morning. I am Rich Matthews. I am the Business Administrator for Patterson Public Schools. Today I'm filling in for Eileen Schaefer. Welcome to Patterson Parent University's Learning Table. Here at the Learning Table, we present and talk about educational issues that impact you and your children. Today we have with us Gio Mancini from Liberty Benefit Advisors. We also have John DiMartino from Liberty Benefit Advisors. Before we get started, let's meet our guests.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews, so much for having us. I'm John DiMartino, and we are Liberty Benefit Advisors. We are the advisor to the Patterson Public School District, and we will be overseeing the open enrollment transition, which is scheduled for July 1st.
Excellent. I'm Giovanni Mancini. I also work for Liberty Benefit Advisors, and I make up one half of the benefit team here at Patterson. So let's roll right into it. John, when we're talking about some of the changes that are going to be going on, when does open enrollment start?
Sure. So open enrollment is officially kicking off with this video. We're going to be scheduling group meetings on May 1st, May 2nd, and May 3rd. Those are going to be at JFK High School, School 25, and Eastside, and that's going to be from 4 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. And of course, we'll be available after that as well to answer any questions that the employees have. That's part one of the open enrollment process. Part two is we're going to be scheduling time for each and every Patterson Public School employee to sit down with a trained benefit counselor one-on-one to review their benefit plan elections, answer any questions they have, and give them the opportunity to have a private session with somebody to make sure that all of their needs are being addressed and taken care of.
So, John, tell me what's changing.
So, all good things. So, we're taking a look at the medical program first. And we're going to be transitioning from the state plan to a large national PPO plan. So we're going to have a 92 to 96% doctor overlap. All the major hospitals are going to be in network. Usually the only fluctuations tend to be chiropractors or physical therapists, but that's something that we will be able to certainly address at some of those one-on-one sessions as well. Okay. On the prescription drug side, we're going to be transitioning from Benecard to Express Scripts. And I know this district was with Express Scripts for a few years, about 3, and transitioned back to Benecard. But this time around, we have negotiated a better contract. Okay. We have negotiated better pricing, and we've negotiated a much better service contract with them as well. Sure. So some of the issues that Patterson had that first time around, we've addressed with this contract.
Well, John, what about the compounding drugs issue that they had with Express Scripts in the past contract?
Absolutely. So that was the first thing that we looked to address because that's the thing that hit the papers. And when we were reading about Patterson, that's one of the first things we found online. Mm-hmm. So we spoke with Benecard. We also spoke with Express Scripts about what happened during that period. And basically what happened was they were filling drugs that weren't previously covered. Okay. So a lot of those compound drugs weren't supposed to be covered, but once they started covering them, there was really no turning back. Sure. And what happened was, with the compound drug, they take 2 substances, mix them together, and then the pharmacist can sell this not FDA-approved drug to the employees. And the issue is they can charge pretty much whatever they want for that drug. Sure. So what happened was the spending went through the roof. Right. Okay. And there's a misconception that these were things like, cancer drugs or drugs for serious conditions. Most of them were topical creams or things that could be easily addressed with other forms of medication. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from our clinical team of physicians and doctors who have taken a look at that and provided us with that information. So a lot of those issues are not going to be existing this time around. Sure.
Sounds good. So, John, what you're saying to me is anything going to change? I mean, I'm on direct tender right now. Will that change? Will my out-of-pocket expenses change, or my co-pays and my deductibles? Can you tell me a little bit about what can I expect as far as changes?
Absolutely. So we've had discussions with some of the employees, and they're very worried that their actual plan design is going to change. And I think the thing that's important to realize is, when we talk about insurance, there's the network, right? So that's Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna. And then there's the actual plan design. And the plan design is the $10 copay, $20 copay, your out-of-network expenses, your deductible. And those things are all governed by, for the most part, collective bargaining agreements. So we are not allowed to change those things, and we did not change any of them. So right now, if you're in the Direct 10, you will continue to have a $10 copay. You will continue to have a $400 maximum out-of-pocket. all of the benefits themselves will be exactly the same. And that's something that we have guaranteed in writing by the company that processes these claims. So in the event that there is a mishap or an accident and somebody gets billed the wrong thing, we will investigate that immediately, and we will always resolve it in favor of the benefit plan design that's in force today with the state plan.
Would that mean the equal to or better than benefits? So you're telling me that's going to be the same as what I have right now with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield on my current Direct 10 plan?
Absolutely. So equal to or better than is outlined in the collective bargaining agreement. It's something that's standard in the school districts that we work with, and it's something that we have to adhere to. So when you hear equal to or better than, that means the plan design will be exactly the same.
Sure. So John, I have a couple of questions that already came in. We're going to be making this transition for a 7-1, but what if I've already hit my maximum out of pocket for the year? What happens then?
Absolutely. So that's another huge concern. And that's one of the reasons why we're taking the time to sit down with each and every Patterson Public School District employee one-on-one.
Sure.
So we'll be able to help assist you and figure out, have you hit that maximum out of pocket?
Right.
Have you hit your deductible? And if you have, we're going to provide you with those meetings with the information that you'll need in order to have what we call a deductible carryover or a maximum out of pocket carryover. So we'll provide you with the information. We'll need to extract it, usually from your last explanation of benefits.
Okay.
And if you don't know what that is, we'll be explaining that.
Sure.
And once we have that information, we give it to the new company, and they take care of everything from there.
Great.
You know, Joan, we've been in the state employee health benefit plan for the last, I don't know how many years. We've had no major issues. Why are we making this change?
Right.
Well, there's a few reasons, and really it boils down to three things. It's cost, service, and rate stability. So starting just with cost, on 1/1 of 2018, all of the employees felt this. Your rates increased by 13%.
Yep.
That was the highest increase that we've seen in this marketplace that year. So, for example, competitive private programs saw their medical increase by about 6%. The municipal state health insurance program, we saw their rates increase by 0% on 1/1/18. So with the state plan's 13% increase, that's not necessarily a reflection of what the market is seeing.
Okay.
And that's what we expect to occur again on January 1st of 2019.
Right.
We expect another increase that could be over 15%.
Okay.
When we took an analysis and looked at this program, the rates that you're getting from the state plan are too high based on your utilization. So when we take a look at that and conducted our market analysis, we were able to find much more competitive rates on a platform that's going to be a little bit more stable than the platform that the state program is built on. So that's the first piece. The first piece is cost. And what we've seen and what we've seen in Jersey City and some of the other school districts is teachers and employees are getting raises every year, but taking home less. Mm-hmm. And a large reason for that is the cost of health benefits. So this is going to flip that narrative. So 18-19 will be a year where the employees take home more with their raise. So that's the first reason is cost. The second reason is service. So some of the issues that we have are employees feel like they're alone in the healthcare marketplace. It's tough to find a doctor or find a second opinion. It's tough to schedule an appointment or find a place that accepts your insurance for an X-ray or an MRI. So what we're doing is we're going to be implementing a program called Crumdale Advocates.
Okay.
And they're going to be available Monday through Friday. And they're going to be available by phone, by email. And what they're going to do is they're going to walk the employees through any issues that they have, whether it's a billing issue, whether it's an issue with a doctor, whether it's just trying to find a second opinion to make sure that that knee surgery is actually warranted. We're going to have staff even on site at Patterson Monday through Friday to assist the benefits team and to assist the employees with some of these tough questions. So the service model that we're putting together is going to be industry leading, and Patterson Public School District will have the best service platform in New Jersey. So service is a huge piece. We don't want employees to feel like they're alone. The second thing is rate stability. So the state plan is typically unpredictable in what their rate increases are going to be.
Sure.
We can predict with a great deal of accuracy what the rate increases for Patterson are going to be year over year. And that's going to allow us to work a little bit better with the budget. It's going to allow employees to figure out what their contributions are going to be well in advance. And it's going to give some much-needed stability to the budget and to the employees. So those are the three big reasons why we would entertain a change like this.
Sounds good.
So we also have some other concerns about the state plan in the amount of groups and lives that have been leaving the state plan, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about, some of the reasons why we thought this was the time period and why it made sense to make this change now as opposed to maybe a couple years previously.
Absolutely. So what we've seen over the last few years is the state plan, which is once the first choice for school districts, has become the choice of really last resort.
Right.
So what we've seen since about July 1st of 2014, a couple of our counterparts, other consulting firms in this industry, have found that there's been about 70 to 74 school districts that have left the state plan in search for better rates on the private marketplace.
And these are all groups that have good experience, right, naturally?
Absolutely. So the gist of it is groups that are performing well leave the state plan, and groups that are performing poorly enter the state plan.
Right.
And what that means is all of the groups that enter the state plan continue to drive those rate increases. And that's why we've seen those rates increase in double digits. And, on average, since 2010, the rates have compounded by over 150%. Nowhere else in the market has that happened. The average renewal, even when medical trend has been at a 20-year low at around 6%, we've still seen double-digit increases. And a lot of that is because of the way groups are entering and leaving the state plan. And Patterson's not alone. There's a lot of other large school districts that have made this leap. Camden, Elizabeth, Newark. So those big school districts leaving has really paved the way for Patterson to leave as well. And I think, to that point, one of the other questions is how much can we expect to save versus what we would expect to pay in the state plan?
Sure.
And on average, employees are going to save about 13 to 17% off of their contributions. So we're not talking pennies here. We're talking about sizable changes that are going to make the financial prosperity of every Patterson Public School employee increase.
So what you're saying is an employee in 17-18 and then in 18-19 that they can see a reduction of approximately 13% off of their Chapter 78 contributions?
Yeah. So where does that money come from in theory? Where do we see that savings?
Absolutely. So in the rates that we'll be providing for 18-19 versus the rates in force for 18, you'll see those decrease a little bit.
Sure.
But the thing you won't see on January 1st, if you were in the state plan, you'd see, let's say, a 13 or 15% increase.
And that won't happen.
You won't see that in this plan.
So typically every year, the teacher gets their check on January 15th, and now we got less money than we had, say, on December 31st. You're telling me that's not going to happen this year?
Not going to happen this year.
Right. So for 6 months, we're going to see a small decrease in the total amount of the contributions that they're going to have to pay towards the premium. But then on 1/1, that when they normally expect to see a lower amount in their paycheck every year, you're telling us that's gone.
That's gone.
Excellent. That's great. So what happens to the retirees? What do they do if we're going to move out of the state plan and the state plan currently covers the retirees? How do they find coverage?
That was another huge concern was either I'm retiring soon or I plan to retire in the next few years. What happens to the retirees?
Okay.
Very simple. With New Jersey school districts, retirees remain in the state plan regardless of what the rest of the employees do. So if the rest of the employees are leaving the state plan for a private plan, like they are here at Patterson, the retirees will remain unaffected.
Okay.
Anyone who retires this year or next year will also go into the state plan for their retirement.
Understood.
If I have any questions, like who can I call? Do I contact you? Do I contact Gio? What do I do to find out what's going on?
Sure. I think the most important thing is everybody is going to have a lot of questions.
Yes.
So the first thing we do is we suggest coming to the group meetings. You're going to learn a lot more about the programs at those meetings. And then the second step is meeting with your benefits counselor for that one-on-one session. So a lot of the questions that you probably want to email us right now will be addressed at those two meetings in great detail. So I would say for now, if you have questions, save them. Ask them at the group meeting if it's not too personal. Ask them at the one-on-one session. That will be held in private.
Yes.
So you're going to have the opportunity to ask some questions that you may not have had the ability to ask if we weren't sitting with you in private.
And you'll be able to have real-time follow-up questions. Some of the questions that we that we take on and we give answers to, we're going to elicit immediate follow-up questions, and you're going to be able to get that real-time question from a benefits counselor in a one-on-one fashion. And it's really something for you to look forward to, honestly. You're going to get a lot of the questions that you have answered.
Mm-hmm.
So am I calling you, Liberty? Am I calling the health provider? Who am I actually calling?
Yep. So after open enrollment is finished, we're rolling out a service platform. It's called Crumdale Advocates. Okay. And at the group meeting and at the one-on-one sessions, we're going to be releasing more information about them and about the services they provide, as well as the phone number that everybody will be able to contact. That is going to be set up, and all the staff will be trained after we finalize some of the benefits information. Probably for June 15th, they'll be able to call Crumdale Advocates.
You say Crumdale. Who's Crumdale?
Crumdale is a company that provides these types of services, so employee advocacy services, to groups just like Patterson.
Okay.
So employees will be able to call this number and think of it as like your own personal concierge. Anytime you have any questions about the medical, prescription drug, dental, vision, you name it, there's going to be one phone number for the employees to call, and it's going to be the Crumdale Advocates line. And from there, if they need to contact the dental provider or contact the medical provider, the Crumdale Advocate will do that on your behalf.
Excellent.
And the idea is we want to take as much stress off everybody's plate as possible. And make benefits as easy to manage as possible.
Right.
Because right now it's very tough. So it's going to be one number for everything.
And we're not changing that piece. That's actually a service that we're going to be providing in addition to the employee benefits here. It's going to be something that might be a little bit new for some people. I've never used something like that before, but we encourage the use of it because we want to drive everyone to that Crumdale Advocates place, because where you're going to probably get the most information that you're looking for in regards to what your goal is.
Absolutely. And there's a few things that they provide. They provide help with medical bills. They resolve eligibility issues. They provide utilization reports and savings reports. They help you understand the bills and the explanation of benefits that you get. They help you understand the benefits programs if you have any questions. A great idea, and what a few of our clients have done is they encourage their members to call them before they schedule something, before you get that x-ray, before you have that surgery. Call them, and they'll help you figure out how much money you're going to be paying out of pocket. Are those doctors in-network, or are they out-of-network? So that way, there's no surprises when these things take place. And they even go as far, if you need some actual clinical advice, they have clinical staff that are available to speak about diagnosis, to help coordinate care at a much deeper level, and provide support following a difficult diagnosis. Right? You may have a lot of questions that you forgot to ask your doctor, and doctors are busy, so it's not uncommon for them to not be able to really field your phone calls, right? So you have a team available to make sure you understand your condition and what's being done, and more importantly, why it's being done.
So what happens if during this open enrollment period that I don't make the open enrollment? Mm-hmm. How do I make sure that I am going to be put in for benefits for 18-19 school year?
Absolutely. So we're encouraging everyone to go to those group meetings and to get to those one-on-one sessions, because we have made them mandatory, because we want to make sure everybody's taken care of. Now, there are some situations where somebody's on a leave of absence. Hopefully they're seeing this video. Or situations where somebody may be out of work because they get disabled or whatever the reason may be. And we would encourage you immediately to notify the HR team here at Patterson, and then they will help you coordinate a special one-on-one session, whether it ends up being with Crumdale Advocates, whether it's with us personally, or whether it's with the HR team, just putting your information into the system and getting you logged on that way.
Excellent.
Sounds very good. So a lot of people are not sure about what plan to go with. So we take on some new employees. You got Direct 10, you got Direct 15, Direct 20, 2035. How would you position them into the right plan, and how would they know what's the best plan for the individual employee?
Absolutely. So the benefits counselors are going to be trained to provide some detailed information. So one of the tools that we'll be providing is what we call our cost calculator. Right? Chapter 78 doesn't make it easy to calculate your cost. But with this tool, they'll be able to input their salary, their coverage tier, and then in that calculator, they'll be able to determine how much they're going to be contributing to each plan, and we'll even have the ability to anticipate what their out-of-pocket expenses will be. So for probably the first time, you'll be able to sit down, put your information in, and then it'll spit out exactly how much we anticipate that you'll pay for each plan.
Yeah.
For many employees, they're just going to want to continue on the Direct 10, right, because they're saving a little bit of money. But I think for some employees, they're looking for options that won't break the bank, but will still provide a very rich level of benefits. And for those employees, we'll be able to offer all of those solutions in detail about each plan. So at that one-on-one session, that's going to be a great time to learn more about the costs, more about the expected out-of-pocket expenses, and answer any questions you have about maybe the Direct 15 or the 1525, for example.
Say, for instance, a teacher can't leave the classroom. Then what do they do?
So this is actually great. One of the things that we've done with this enrollment team is at no cost to the Patterson Public School District. We're going to be providing substitute teachers at all locations. So when a teacher needs to see their one-on-one benefits counselor, they're going to be able to leave the classroom in the hands of a trained substitute teacher from the same source that you get them from now. So one of the things we don't want to do is we don't want the employees spending more time at home worrying about their benefits. So by scheduling these during the workday, we're not interrupting their home life.
Okay.
And that was something that was important to us, and it's something that's been important to the employees where we've done this type of approach before.
How long can they expect the meeting to be with the benefits counselor?
Sure. So there's usually two types of people. One that says, I want everything to stay the same,
Right.
and that takes about 5 minutes.
Right.
And then you have some that say, well, tell me a little bit more about these programs. Calculate my cost. Let me tell you about some of the issues that I've had. And those typically take between 15 and 20 minutes, but by no means is there a limit. So if you need 30 minutes, we'll give that to you. That's not an issue at all. We're there to take care of the employees.
Right.
So I have a procedure already scheduled. Will my doctors be in the network, and what drugs are covered? And if not, I hit my out-of-pocket max. Will that be covered as well?
So there's going to be a lot more questions than the ones we reviewed today. So are my doctors in network? And I'll tell you, most likely, yes, there's a 96% chance that they are in network. But it could be a doctor who only takes Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's some doctors that only take Aetna or Cigna. So we'll be able to provide you with a doctor lookup at that one-on-one enrollment session. So as long as you know the names of your doctors and bring that with you, we'll be able to look them up and see whether or not they're in the network. The other issue is, are my drugs covered, right? So there's a ton of drugs out there. Each one's covered differently with a different prescription drug company. So what we'll be doing is, if you have certain drugs at the one-on-one session that's in private, we can look those up to see if they're on the drug formulary.
Okay.
If they are not on the formulary, we're not going to turn anybody away. We're going to give usually a 3 to 6 month grace period so you can continue filling the drugs that you've been filling. And if you need to make a change, that should give you enough time to speak to your doctor about alternatives. And if for some reason the doctor says you absolutely need this specific drug, we'll work with you to get it covered.
Yes.
So there won't be any issues there. And the other thing, I've met my out-of-pocket, I've met my deductible. Same thing at those one-on-one sessions. We'll be able to review with you the process to make sure the new insurance company has that information. So that way, if you've met your maximum out-of-pocket and everything's covered at 100%, you don't get billed.
Right.
In the event, and listen, accidents happen. In the event that you do get billed, you just provide that info to the Crumdale Advocates, and they'll take care of everything for you.
What should an employee bring to this one-on-one meeting with the, first to the group meetings, and then should they be bringing anything to the meeting with the benefits counselor?
So to the group meetings, they don't have to bring anything in particular. We just ask that they show up and feel free to participate. At the one-on-one session, what they're going to need is their doctor's information if they want to look up their doctors. They will need information about their prescription drugs if they want to look up their prescription drugs to see if they're covered. And typically, we would ask that they have their information about their dependents. That's the thing that people typically leave behind. Even though we have most of that information, we'll want to confirm the address, the name, and we'll want to make sure things like the Social Security number are right.
Sure.
So that way, when they get processed, there's no issues. We want to make sure that everybody is covered.
This pretty much concludes the Patterson Parent University's learning table for today. I'd like to thank John DiMartino from Liberty. I'd like to thank Gio Mancini. Before we go, do you have any closing comments before we go?
No, we're really looking forward to meeting with everybody at the group meetings, those one-on-one sessions, and we're looking forward to bending that cost curve and making sure that every year that teachers and the rest of the employees get a raise is a year that they take home more money.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right.